Somebody just told you that financial freedom means 7 figures in the bank, a house with no mortgage, and never checking a price tag again. That's the version of freedom Instagram sells you. It is also a version almost nobody actually has. The real version looks so different that most people who already have it don't even realize they've made it. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end, you're going to measure your own life differently. Let's start with what people say they need. A recent national survey asked regular Americans one question: what amount of money would make you feel financially comfortable? The average answer was $839,000, just to stop worrying about bills and everyday expenses. Now compare that to what people say actually makes them feel free. Not a bank balance, not a car, not a vacation home. In a recent nationwide poll, the top answer for what financial freedom really means was simple: not needing money from family or friends. Right behind that came reaching a personal savings goal and putting money into a retirement account consistently. Nobody's number one answer was becoming rich. 44% of Americans said financial independence is what making it actually means to them. Not luxury, independence. So why does the word freedom always get mixed up with the word millionaire? Because the loudest numbers online are never the normal ones. Here's a number that gets thrown around constantly. The average net worth of an American household is well over $1 million. That statistic is technically true and almost completely misleading. Averages get pulled upward by a small number of extremely wealthy households. The median tells a very different story. According to the Federal Reserve's most recent survey, the median American household net worth sits at around $192,900. That's the middle. Half of American households have less than that, not 1 million. Not close to it. Break it down by age, and the picture gets even clearer. Households under 35 have a median net worth of roughly $39,000. By your late 30s and early 40s, that median climbs to around $135,000, mostly from home equity for people who bought early. By your 50s, the median is close to $247,000. By retirement age, it lands somewhere around $410,000. Take a second and notice something. Not one of those numbers is a millionaire number. And yet, plenty of people at every one of these stages already describe their life as financially free. That's the part nobody explains. Freedom was never about hitting a giant round number. It was about the gap between what you owe and what you control. Let's talk about the other side of this, because it matters just as much as the net worth numbers. Roughly half of American adults currently describe themselves as living paycheck to paycheck, according to multiple recent surveys tracking household spending. Here's the detail that surprises most people. This isn't only a low-income problem. Households earning over $100,000 a year report living paycheck to paycheck at nearly the same rate as households earning half of that. Higher income doesn't automatically create freedom. It usually just raises the size of the expenses sitting on top of it. Bigger house, newer car, more subscriptions, more dining out. Each one feels reasonable in the moment, so the pattern stays invisible. This is why two people earning the exact same salary can live completely different financial realities. One feels trapped, the other feels free. Same paycheck, different math. Let me introduce you to someone who represents this shift better than any spreadsheet could. Dana is 34 years old and works as a respiratory therapist at a regional hospital in Ohio. Her salary is $68,000 a year, nothing close to rich by any headline definition. 5 years ago, Dana carried $11,000 in credit card debt and had $400 in savings. She describes that period as constant, low-grade panic. Every paycheck disappeared before it arrived. A flat tire or a dentist visit felt like a 5-alarm fire. Dana didn't win the lottery, and she didn't get a dramatic raise. She did 3 unglamorous things, slowly, over about 4 years. First, she paid off the credit card debt using extra shifts and a strict no new debt rule. No shortcuts, just consistency. Second, she built an emergency fund equal to about 4 months of basic expenses, roughly $9,000, sitting untouched in a separate account. Third, she started putting 11% of every paycheck into her retirement account automatically before she ever saw the money. Today, Dana's net worth sits around $72,000, modest by any millionaire measuring stick. But Dana describes her life right now, at 34, with a salary most finance influencers would call ordinary, as completely financially free. Why? Because a surprise expense no longer threatens her housing, and a bad month at work no longer means a spiral of debt. She has options, and options are the actual product freedom is selling. This is where we need to be precise, because financial freedom for a normal American is not one number. It's a short list of conditions. Condition 1. No high-interest consumer debt controlling your paycheck. Credit cards, payday loans, anything charging you double-digit interest just to exist. Condition 2. 3 to 6 months of basic living expenses sitting in cash, untouched, ready for the inevitable emergency. Condition 3. Consistent contributions into a retirement account, even a small percentage, started early and left alone to compound. Condition 4. Housing and transportation costs that don't consume most of your take-home pay, regardless of how nice the house or car looks from outside. Condition 5. The ability to absorb one bad month, one repair bill, one medical copay, without borrowing money to survive it. Notice something about this list. Not one of these 5 conditions requires a 7-figure net worth. All 5 are achievable on a normal working salary. That's not motivational talk. That's just arithmetic. Let's run the actual math, because vague encouragement doesn't pay bills, numbers do. Take someone earning $55,000 a year, roughly $4,500 a month before tax. If that person saves just 15% of gross income into a retirement account starting at age 25, and that money grows at a historical average stock market return of about 7% a year after inflation. By age 65, that account alone would be worth somewhere around $1.2 million. Not from a huge salary, from 40 years of consistency. Now, a smaller, faster example. If that same person redirects just $300 a month, the cost of a few forgotten subscriptions and impulse orders, into a simple index fund. Over 30 years at that same historical average return, $300 a month grows into roughly $340,000. From money, most people don't even notice leaving their account. This is the quiet mechanism behind almost every normal person's version of financial freedom. Not a windfall, not a lucky break. Time plus a percentage, plus leaving it alone. Here's a distinction worth sitting with. There is a difference between being rich and being free, and most people chase the wrong one. Being rich is a number on a statement. Being free is what that number allows you to say no to. A teacher with a paid-off house and no debt can feel more financially free than an executive with a huge salary and an even huger mortgage. Recent financial planning research makes this exact point. A person's sense of financial security depends far more on the gap between income and obligations than on the size of any single asset. Freedom was never the amount. It was always the distance between what you owe and what you can walk away from. So what does financial freedom actually look like for a normal American in 2026? Not a fantasy, a realistic, buildable target. It looks a lot like Dana's life. Nothing dramatic happened on the day she became free. A $400 car repair stopped being an emergency and just became an errand. That was the whole shift, not a magic number crossed on a screen. A moment where ordinary bad luck stopped being able to knock her down. That's the actual definition. Consistency, repeated for years, quietly doing what a lottery ticket never could. If this changed how you think about your own number, you're exactly the kind of person this channel was built for. Subscribe, because we break down the real math behind money every single week. No noise, just numbers that actually apply to your life.